We are pleased to have with us this morning one of the Spike Jones band members, Dr. Horatio Q. Birdbath. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, I'm in the chirping voice this morning.
My first question, I guess, is why do they call you Dr. Birdbath?
Well, that name was given to me by Spike Jones in 1945 when I joined him. Through a phone conversation I had from Amos and Andy, I met Spike over the phone, and he wanted to know who I was, and I told him my real name. I said it's A. Purves Pullen. A. Purves Pullen. And he said, oh, I can't stand it. That's the worst name I ever heard in my life. He said, what do you do? I said, well, I imitate birds and animals. So anyhow, I did a whole flock of them over the phone, and they said, come on out to the house. I was out there 17 hours, and then's when he created this name. The doctor stands for Doctor of Ornithology. Horatio is for success, like the Horatio Alger Jr. series.
Yeah.
A bird is for the birds that it do, and the bath part was for the tuba that I poured with water onto the city slickers when the show started. Just remembered.
Yeah.
Then we had to come up with an initial, and I thought it was going to be easy, but that took a long time. He had a K and a J and all that. He said it'll be Q. I said, gee, that sounds like a real beautiful name, Dr. Horatio Q. But I said, but Spike, what will a Q stand for? He says it'll stand for quinine because you're hard to take. Ken, I'm telling you, we have funny names in that band, you know, with Doodles Weaver and Sir Frederick Gas.
Yeah.
And this is Spike's way of making up his people, you know.
Yeah. Can you give me a sample of more of those birds? That's incredible how you do that, Doctor.
Well, I have a crooked tooth and there's a robin and a Bob White.
You know, that sounds like Rinso White there for Amos and Andy.
Yeah, with Amos and Andy.
Oh, you were the one that did it?
I'm the Rinso Whitebird, yeah.
I'll be darned.
That's how I met Spike on the phone through them.
Oh.
I was doing that. Rinso White, happy little wash day song. Rinso White. Yeah, I did that, and for several years, and finally said, well, we got enough tapes now, we're going to let you call a friend of ours, which was Spike Jones.
Yeah.
And then I stayed with Spike up till he died in 1965.
Yeah, and this is the anniversary of his death today, in fact.
That's right.
May 1st. Boy, I'll tell you, it's a real talent to do that kind of thing. How did you get interested in doing the bird call things?
Well, I started when I lived on a farm, you know, and then learned and all the farm animals, and then finally I found I could do this like a baby chick.
Yeah.
And my granddad took me out on some bird hikes, and I mastered about 14 birds, and when I was about 5 or 6 years of age. So I kept applying it. Now I have, with Ripley's, it just came out, well, it didn't just come out, it's been out 3 years now in the cartoon. It says, Ripley's, believe it or not, Dr. Horatio Q. Birdbath imitates 700 animals and 300 birds and insects. And that's my count is over 1,000 bird and animal noises.
Wait a minute, how can you do an imitation of an insect?
Well, like a bumblebee. I don't know whether you can catch it in there or not.
I can hear it.
Yeah, and I also do fish, you know.
You're kidding.
No, a catfish, you know. Meow, meow. Dogfish. I have to bring those all in, you know.
That is great. But when you were back, wait a minute, let me...
I was telling you about there that I was working with, and am still with Dr. Don Rose and KFRC out of San Francisco. He's a DJ in the morning.
Yeah.
He's on from 6 to 9, and I'm his little dog Roscoe. He growls and he eats at 6:10 in the morning. That's where their dial is on 6. What's your dial number?
12:30.
12:30.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, and so you're WJBC.
You got it. You know what, I find it hard to believe, though, Doctor, that you were on the Amos and Andy show and you just did the Rinso White Bird. Or did you do other sound effects on that show from time to time?
With Amos and Andy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did some of the voices, the baby crying and things like that, you know.
A lot of these noises that were on the old Spike Jones recordings you did also.
One that there was 3 or 4 of us that made it. Carl Grayson was the originator. That was the Cocktails for Two of the one that did that. That's the glove. Joe Syracuse and Mickey Katz also did the gloves in that.
Yeah. Now this is remarkable, and I think Jordan has explained this to us before. When those recordings were made, there was no such thing as tape to get everything ahead of time. It had to be.
That's right. We had to make the record perfect. Number one right on the top, like George did make it. If he wanted to improve on it, he tried and tried. If it didn't happen, they'll use the best one. See?
Yeah.
Same with me when I did Old MacDonald Had a Farm. We made 27 records. And right from the beginning to the end, it was on an acetate, see, like, you know. And by the time we get up to 27, the one we used was the first one we made because we broke down. We couldn't do it anymore. Right. So we had to do it over. We couldn't splice in like you do today with tapes, you know.
Yeah. How is Spike Jones to work for? I understand he was kind of a guy that really pushed himself a lot, and I imagine he pushed the people that worked for him, didn't he?
Oh, yes. He was Sagittarian. And that meant, you know, he's sarcastic, you know, and he's firm. And but he still has his happy side, his good side. But when he wanted to get strict or anything, boy, he'd really lay you out, you know.
Yeah. Now, you say you've played around here. We had an opportunity to talk with George Rock not long ago.
He's from Illinois.
Yeah. And I've met Bill King, the juggler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's still around over near Muncie, Indiana, I believe.
Muncie, Indiana, uh-huh.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And I had lunch with him one time. He's played the fair here a couple of different times.
Before we got Billy Barty, the midget, we had Frankie Little from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
He sold newspapers there when Spike had picked him up.
Yeah.
There's a little midget called Frankie Little.
Uh-huh.
There's quite a few people from around near your area there.
Yeah.
Who were with Spike.
Spike was from California, I think, himself, wasn't he?
That's right, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Went to Long Beach, from Monrovia, but he went to Long Beach at 10.
Yeah.
And anyhow...
What was your favorite recording? We mentioned Cocktails for Two, and maybe we can play that.
There's another one that I'm featured in, that Laura, and then Love and Bloom we made for Takeoff for Jack Benny, and the Hawaiian War chant. You'll hear a lot of gloves and chicken chorus in there, and Holiday for Strings. Those are so many favorites. I did 65 of them this Spike.
You know, other people
on 18.
Other people tried to do that kind of thing, but they never had the success that Spike Jones had.
No, they haven't. They've been trying to come back, but it would be a wonderful thing because we need happiness and fun music now more than ever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We need somebody that can fill us all the sadness and all these horrible things that are going on.
What did Spike say, though? He said when rock and roll came along, he gave up on trying to wreck it. He said, how do you wreck music that's already been wrecked, right?
Yeah, well, and when rock and roll came in, and then of course TV at the same time, that was hurting personal appearances, you know. And but his style was always taking something real sweet, like Love and Bloom and Laura or Cocktails for Two, and he had a big band. He had another band with about 34 pieces in it, and then they would drop out into the city slickers and commit a crime. See, and that's where. His key to his success and his ideas was to take something sweet and then bring it up. See?
Yeah. Can you describe what a basic Spike Jones concert was like for for some of us who have never seen one of those or even a film of a Spike Jones concert?
The films, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was a Fireman Saved My Child, Variety Girl. He made several pictures.
Yeah, but I mean, if you went to see a Spike Jones show with you and all the rest of the guys, how did it open up? Did it have any kind of a format at all, or was it just plain chaos?
Oh yeah, no. We had a regular format, and the opening, and they always closed with Cocktails for Two, and then my part, I had a ventriloquist down. I did Old MacDonald Had a Farm. That was my big featured number, and then we'd open up with the various numbers, and have two parts on the big show. That was the musical depreciation review.
Uh-huh.
We'd have two parts, and the show would run 2 or 3 hours. Intermission.
Yeah.
And then in vaudeville, that was a show run about an hour between the movies. You know, we did 6 and 7 shows a day.
Yeah. In fact, you said you played Bloomington, right?
Yeah, we played Bloomington. I just can't remember. Don't have my record, but I kept a schedule of where on exploitation of places we were, and I know Bloomington, Illinois is down there.
Yeah. Who did you enjoy working with? It must have been kind of fun traveling with a group like that, a group of idiots.
It's something you wouldn't get out of a book, Ken.
How was Doodles Weaver to work with?
He was a prince. He was part of the time he was my roommate, and he was a nut. You know that. He always was getting in trouble.
Yeah, he would do anything for a laugh.
He went to Stanford. You know, one of the big highlights there was the one where they were unveiling the statue with Stanford sitting on this horse, a big concrete statue, and they had the band playing, and Herbert Hoover was there for the thing. It was a big ovation thing, you know, for the Stanford sitting on this horse. And when they pulled the cover off, Jules was on his knees, and he had a Napoleon hat on. He had his hand in his chest, and he went like a seal. Oh. And everybody's down there fainting because it was a serious thing with Stanford, the founder of the school. You know, they have a dedication to this horse.
Yeah. Are there any other stories that come to mind? I know it's kind of tough to pull them all out at once, but since this is the anniversary of Spike Jones' death, I have seen the book. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a picture of you. You're wearing tail feathers, as I recall.
Now, that's one part in there where I'm doing the chicken course there, holiday string. And then, of course, in other places throughout there, and I'm on the cover there. I don't look like I looked then. That was in 1947, my picture on the cover.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a good many years ago, and I'm glad to hear you're in good health.
Well, I'm still hanging in there, yeah. I'm not as spry as I was, but I still get around. I still work, and I sell a little bit of toy, and go out and make personal appearances. Work at Ripley's, believe it or not, down in San Francisco in the summertime for the children. I entertain them out front, you know.
Well, that's neat. How about a few more sound effects as we say so long to you?
All right. How about my parents saying, hello, 20 pounds, WJBC. That's right. And then here's the monkey I did with Bonzo, with Ronald Reagan. I was the voice of Bonzo. And the bedtime for Bonzo.
Really?
Here's the monkey that you heard. I wasn't the monkey. I wasn't the chip. I was the sound. Here he is, Bonzo. That's it.
Gee, it sounded a lot like George Bush. Thank you.
I'm also glad to talk with you, Ken, and all your listeners there in Bloomington, Illinois. Should I make a trip through there sometime,
You stop by. You're invited to stop by anytime.
All right, because I know your call letters now, and I know where Bloomington, Illinois is, and you're talking to me out here at the Nut Tree, you know.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.